What if I told you that Kylian Mbappé just gave his most controversial interview ever? The Real Madrid superstar didn't hold back when he sat down with French journalist Anne-Sophie Lapix, and what he revealed about racism in La Liga, PSG's Champions League dreams, and his Real Madrid move will leave you absolutely stunned. Stay with me because this interview is already breaking the internet, and you need to hear what football's biggest star just said. Welcome back to Foot Goal 360, where we break down the biggest stories in football. We're about to dive into the most talked about interview of 2025. Mbappé just appeared on M6's brand new show, Lee 2020. And trust me, this wasn't your typical PR-friendly chat. Let's set the scene. Sunday night, September 7th, 2025. Anne-Sophie Lapix is launching her new weekly interview show on M6, and she needs a guest that will make headlines. Who better than Kylian Mbappé, the man who's been relatively quiet in the media since his move to Real Madrid? But what nobody expected was just how open and brutally honest the French captain would be. Addressing the elephant in the room, racism in Spanish football. The moment that has everyone talking came when Lapix asked Mbappé about the racist abuse he faced during Real Madrid's match against Real Oviedo. And his response? Absolutely damning. Mbappé didn't sugarcoat it. He called the racist chants truly appalling, and you could see the genuine frustration in his eyes. This wasn't just another diplomatic response from a media-trained athlete. This was raw, authentic emotion from someone who's clearly had enough. For those who might not remember, during Real Madrid's Copa del Rey match against Oviedo, Mbappé was subjected to racist chants from sections of the crowd. It's something that unfortunately happens far too often in football, but hearing Mbappé address it so directly sends a powerful message. What makes this even more significant is that Mbappé rarely speaks out on controversial topics. He's usually careful, measured, diplomatic, but something about this interview was different. Maybe it's because he's now settled at Real Madrid. Maybe it's because he's tired of staying silent, but whatever the reason, we saw a side of Mbappé we've never seen before. The PSG Champions League question that everyone's talking about. But the racism comments weren't the only bombshell. When Lapix brought up PSG's historic Champions League victory, something that happened after Mbappé left Paris, his response was pure class and showed the maturity we've seen develop in the 26-year-old over recent years. It was important for them, Mbappé said, and you could hear the genuine happiness in his voice for his former teammates. This is huge, people. Remember all the speculation about bad blood between Mbappé and PSG after his departure? All the rumors about burnt bridges and bitter feelings? This interview just put all of that to rest. Think about it. Here's a player who spent 7 years at PSG, won multiple domestic titles, but never that elusive Champions League trophy. To see his former club finally achieve what he couldn't deliver, and to respond with such grace and genuine happiness, that's the mark of a true champion and leader. Real Madrid move, the truth behind the transfer. Of course, no Mbappé interview would be complete without discussing his move to Real Madrid. And while he didn't drop any earth-shattering revelations about the transfer, what was fascinating was how he spoke about the decision. You could sense the weight of expectation he feels at Madrid, the pressure of being the star signing, the player who's supposed to lead Los Blancos to more Champions League glory. But there was also confidence there, not arrogance, but the quiet confidence of someone who knows they belong at the highest level. The way he carried himself throughout this segment was telling. This isn't the young Mbappé from Monaco anymore, or even the PSG version we knew. This is a player who's matured, who understands the magnitude of playing for Real Madrid, and who's ready to embrace that challenge. The calendar controversy nobody saw coming. Here's where things got really interesting. Mbappé didn't just talk about the glamorous stuff, he got into the nitty-gritty of modern football, specifically the insane fixture calendar that players have to deal with. This is something we don't hear players talk about openly very often, but Mbappé was refreshingly honest about the physical and mental toll. With the expanded Champions League format, more international breaks, and domestic competitions, top players are barely getting any rest. It's a legitimate concern that affects not just the players' well-being, but also the quality of football we see. When you hear one of the world's best players speaking so candidly about these issues, it adds real weight to the ongoing discussions about fixture congestion in modern football. The association IBKM, Mbappé's mission beyond football. What really showed Mbappé's character was when the conversation turned to his association IBKM, which focuses on helping young people and promoting equal opportunities. This isn't just a PR exercise for him. You could see the passion when he talked about giving back to communities and creating opportunities for the next generation. This is the Mbappé we don't see enough of in the media, the thoughtful, socially conscious individual who understands his platform and wants to use it for good. It's easy to focus on the goals, the speed, the glamour of his career, but moments like these remind us that there's so much more to him as a person. So why is everyone talking about this interview? Why has it become such a big deal? It's because we rarely see athletes, especially at Mbappé's level, being this open and authentic. In an era of carefully crafted social media posts and sanitized press conferences, Mbappé gave us something real. He addressed serious issues like racism head-on, showed genuine emotion and care for his former teammates, and spoke honestly about the challenges facing modern footballers. This wasn't just another interview, it was a statement that Mbappé is ready to use his voice, ready to address difficult topics, and ready to be more than just a footballer. The media war behind the scenes. Here's something that makes this whole story even more interesting. There was actually a media battle going on behind the scenes. TF1 decided to air their own Mbappé interview just hours before the M6 broadcast, essentially trying to steal Anne-Sophie Lapix's thunder for her big debut show. It shows just how valuable Mbappé's voice is in the media landscape right now. When you have two major French television networks fighting over the rights to interview the same person, you know you're dealing with someone whose every word carries weight. Looking at the bigger picture, this interview represents something important for football. We need more players like Mbappé who are willing to speak honestly about the issues facing the sport, whether it's racism, fixture congestion, or the pressures of modern football. When the biggest stars in the game start having these conversations publicly, it forces everyone else, federations, leagues, clubs, to take notice and potentially take action. So there you have it, Mbappé's most revealing interview to date, covering everything from his stance against racism to his mature response about PSG's Champions League success. This is the kind of content that reminds us why he's not just a great footballer, but potentially a great leader for the sport's future. What did you think of Mbappé's comments? Do you agree with his stance on racism in football? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to FootGoal 360 for more in-depth analysis of football's biggest stories. Hit that notification bell, give this video a thumbs up if you found it informative, and I'll see you in the next one.